Once again, we thank Ben Collins for this idea for a tutorial how to spot the difference, how to compare lists. According to Ben, this method will allow us to find out which names are in list 1 but not in list 2, and vice versa. To understand how helpful formulas can be to parse out the differences in the two lists, scroll down to see how extensive our sample data is. Almost 300 rows of data is too much to compare manually. So scroll up, and let's get started. Ben has us starting by counting how many times each name in column A, list 1, appears in column B, list 2. Note, if you are comparing different columns, simply change the column designation letters in any of the formulas used in this tutorial. Type equals COUNTIF, left parenthesis, B, colon, B, comma, A2, right parenthesis in cell B2. With your mouse, click and drag the blue handle of that cell, then drop it on the last cell in a row with data. If the column is long, continue to drag the blue handle, then drop it on the last cell. Scroll up, and you'll see results of the formula, and how many times each item in list 1 appears in list 2. To do the reverse and find how many times an item in list 2 appears in list 1, type this formula. Equals COUNTIF, left parenthesis, A, colon, A, comma, B2, right parenthesis in cell D2. To pull the formula down the whole column, click and drag the cell's blue handle, and drop it on the cell in the last row with data. Note that the columns will not appear to be opposites because the list's data are not in any special order. Now in cell E2, we'll type equals COUNTIF, left parenthesis, B, colon, B, comma, A2, right parenthesis, equals 0 to return true for missing names in list 2 and false otherwise. As before, with your mouse, click and drag the cell's blue handle, then drop it on the cell in the last row of data. To do the same for listing true for missing names in list 1 and false otherwise, click into cell F2, and type equals COUNTIF, left parenthesis, A, colon, A, comma, B2, right parenthesis, equals 0. With your mouse, click and drag the cell's blue handle, then drop it on the cell in the last row of data. Wrapping true-false with an if function makes the output a little more user-friendly. To list any data not appearing in list 2, the formula outputs, not in list 2. For everything else, the row is left blank. In cell G2, type equals COUNTIF, left parenthesis, B, colon, B, comma, A2, right parenthesis, equals 0, comma, quotation mark, not in list 2, quotation mark, comma, right parenthesis. With your mouse, click and drag the cell's blue handle, then drop it on the cell in the last row of data. Continue to click and drag the cell's blue handle, until you can drop it on the cell in the last row of data. Let's do the same for data not in list 1. This formula outputs, not in list 1, for everything else, the row is left blank. In cell H2, type equals, if, left parenthesis, COUNTIF, left parenthesis, A, colon, A, comma, B2, right parenthesis, equals 0, comma, quotation mark, not in list 1, quotation mark, comma, right parenthesis. Like before, click and drag the cell's blue handle, and drop it on the cell in the last row of data. They are all appropriate results, but it'll take much back and forth to identify which terms are actually missing from each list. We'll use columns G and H to generate a list of all the names missing from list 2. Type equals, filter, left parenthesis, A2, colon, A, comma, G2, colon, G, less than symbol, greater than symbol, 2 quotation marks, right parenthesis, in cell I2. This is an array function, so you will not need to pull down the formula into the rest of the column. Let's also generate a list of all the names missing from list 1. Type equals, filter, left parenthesis, B2, colon, B, comma, H2, colon, H, less than symbol, greater than symbol, 2 quotation marks, right parenthesis, in cell J2. Again, it's an array function, so the results automatically fill the column. You could stop here, but if you're like I am, I needed to see an alphabetical list. I added one more step to help me be organized. I alpha sorted items missing from list 2. To do this, with your mouse, select the text in the list of missing items from list 2. Right-click in the selected text and click Copy. With the text in your clipboard, right-click into cell L2. Since we want to paste the text and not the formula, hover over Paste Special. Click Values Only. Next, select the text in column J. Right-click into M2. Hover over Paste Special. Click Values Only. Now we can sort the data. To select the whole column, click into the column header for column L. Click Data. Hover over Sort Range, and click Advanced Range Sorting Options. Click the box to select data as header row. Click Sort. Column L is now alphabetical and even more user-friendly than columns I and J. Let's do the same for column M. To select the whole column, click into the column header for column L. Click Data. Hover over Sort Range. Click Advanced Range Sorting Options. Click the box to select data as header row. Click Sort. The lists of missing data are now alphabetized. I took it even one step further and formatted those lists letter by letter in order to see even more easily the missing data from each list. This is, of course, also an optional step. Scroll down in the next few steps to see my formatting. Scroll down to see more of my formatting. Scroll left to return to the beginning of the sheet. That's it. You're done. Using the things Ben Collins showed us, we can easily compare two lists in Sheets. Thank you once again, Ben.